I wanted to kind of get into is like longer term game because guys are incredibly bad at it. They get very lazy in relationships. I coach probably 90-95% guys when I'm doing these, and I get a few women that book my time. And the constant, complaint from women is he was alpha when I met him, everything was great. Now it's shit. Or he's spying on my spending behavior. Or I'm just not interested in him, and blah 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 sort of thing. Like guys unplug quite a lot, and I think Rollo and Ryan, since you guys have both been in, well, Rollo's been married for 21 years. Ryan, you said you've been in an LTR since 2009.
Well, we got common law marriage in 2009, so yeah, I guess married Canadian style.
Yeah. Okay. So give us the top tips for long-term game for the guys out there questioning that part.
All right. Sex God Method, one of the books we use, it talks about the Debbie, which is dominance, emotion, variety, and immersion. And I find manufactured drama is got to be one of my go-to tools because a ring does not change the way a girl thinks.
Indignation.
And anybody who's been in a relationship for any amount of time will know they've sat there one day and all of a sudden a fight broke out and they had no idea what started it. It's over some random bullshit. And then you have this reactive frame where guys mostly DEAR, which is defend, excuse, explain, and rationalize. It's basically a way of submitting to the girl, which is horrible. So what I do instead is get proactive, pick random fights here and there, build up the tension, then have that goldfish memory where I forget about it. Like, for example, we're walking to work. This would have been about 2 weeks ago. And then she starts getting bitchy about something because she didn't eat breakfast or some stupid reason. I don't remember. And I basically just called her a cunt right there in the middle of downtown Toronto. And then she goes walking off in a huff. I go walking off. I didn't really care. And then I give her a call a couple hours later. I'm like, hey, let's go grab lunch. There's the sandwich place down there. And she's like, don't you want to talk about this? And I just, play dumb. I don't know what you're talking about. And the key part is I just add a lot of emotion and variety in these little manufactured things so you can kind of stay ahead of the game. So she gets her little emotional feedback loop going. It builds up a lot of attraction over time, and you're not left having her shit on you to the point where you have to supplicate her. And I find this as a go-to day-to-day tool that's probably one of the best ones.
Interesting.
I personally, I have to deal with this not just in my long-term relationships with my wife, but also with the girls that I work with. So I think that, and maybe I'm coming up with acronyms again here too, but there's dynamic, authentic, and passionate, and I think that's the key to a man really attracting a woman, but as well as keeping a woman. I think that polarity is the key to a long, successful relationship, assuming that's what you want to do. And I mean that in a sense that too many guys lose themselves once they get into a long-term relationship. The most common complaint I hear guys tell me is like, "Oh, Rollo, I lost the frame. How do I get my frame back? I was so alpha before I got married, and now I've backslid into becoming this horrible beta." And 9 times out of 10, they never had the frame that they thought that they had to begin with, but when that happens, it's usually because the guy has become too much alike to his wife. He has become, he gives up the things that he used to love. I call this sort of the ballad of Clark Kent. When she meets the guy before they get married, he can leap over tall buildings and he's bulletproof, and the guy can fly. He's Superman before they get married, and then afterwards, little by little, he becomes Clark Kent, and he becomes somebody who's not exciting. And she ends up of course, he becomes not exciting because he is accommodating that woman. He's becoming more comfortable with her, and he's becoming more familiar. Familiarity, I think, is probably the #1 killer of passion and desire and seduction inside of a marriage. There's a lot more to marriage than just sex. But I still think that sex is the most important part of that marriage. I think that sex is the glue that holds that relationship together. I love my mom, and I love my daughter, and I love my wife, and I love my niece. But there's only one person amongst them that I have sex with, and that is my wife. So it becomes part of the definition of your relationship with that woman. So guys tend to think of themselves, or I should say, women tend to look at that guy as a family member after they become married or after they're living. That's why I tell guys never to move in with the girl. You know, we were just going through the 9 iron rules of Tomasi just this last week. One reason not to move in with a woman is because it creates a condition of familiarity and comfort with that woman, where anxiety and passive, soft dread would serve them a whole lot better. And so you wonder why it goes from this really urgent, intense, genuine desire sex to kind of like, we'll get to it when we get to it kind of sex, or we'll have sex after I fold the laundry kind of sex, right? But because what that guy becomes is he becomes a member of the family, and women do not. I mean, we instinctually don't want to get involved in incest. We have that in both men and women, but particularly women, because they have that filter for hypergamy. So when that guy becomes this nice, comfortable, stuffed animal that she can go and hug and cry on and everything, and when that guy suddenly turns, suddenly that stuffed animal has a hard on, it rocks the boat for her, because she's separating comfort guy from hot sex guy. And
so Rollo, I've got a question that popped up in the chat that's interesting. Henry says, Rollo, are you still attracted to your wife even if she hit the wall a while ago? I mean, you guys are both about the same age. I met your wife at the 21 convention. She's a very attractive lady. Mm-hmm. How do you maintain long-term attraction, over 21 years like that?
Well, first of all, people always ask me how I vet my wife, and I think even you asked me how I vet my wife. And the first thing I always say is was this somebody that I can be faithful to? Because I know me, and I know that I have been unfaithful to girlfriends in the past, and I didn't want that to ever, be a factor in any marriage if I was to ever consider it. So when I met my wife, she was smoking hot, and she was fun to be with, and she was fun in bed, and she was fun out of bed. And so there was a lot of preconditions that I didn't even know I had until I met her. So as far as the attraction is concerned and keeping it going, again, I think you need to have that soft dread. You definitely have to have that passive dread. And the only way that you're going to get that, I think most guys, once they get into a marriage, they don't have any opportunity for social proof or for pre-selection. And if you're a guy that you can, depending on what your job and your lifestyle is like, if you can find some way to maintain your good looks, if you're in the gym all the time, you're going to at some point get some third party pre-selection or some third party, social proof from people. For me, it's been really easy because I work in, I've always worked in, companies and industries where I've always been around, surrounded by the beautiful people. So there's always that aspect. My wife is also of the mindset that she wants to keep herself in shape. We had one child by design. Now, I'm not saying that, people can't you can only have one kid, but I think that there needs to be a dedication amongst both the man and the woman to maintain their sexual viability and their sexual market value within the relationship. I always tell guys that, just because you got married doesn't remove you from the sexual marketplace. You're still in the sexual marketplace. You might get comfortable and you might think that the competition anxiety is completely gone, or I'm not in the game anymore. No, you, my friend, are definitely still in the game. And you still have a burden of performance once you get into that relationship. And the only thing that changes is the context. You still have that burden of performance. And if you let that go, then yeah, I can see why guys let themselves go, and they can get fat. And I think probably Rich can almost answer this as well as I can. Even though you're not married, you still keep yourself in shape. You still that as a priority for you. And it's always been a priority for me too, because I'm of the opinion that I never want to, I like sex so much that I'm never going to let myself get out of shape, because I don't want to see a fat me having sex.
Yeah,
and my wife is the same. My wife is of the same. I mean, most of you guys met my wife at the convention. She still looks very, very good, and she's just hitting 50. So, you can still look good. You can still keep yourself in shape if you have that dedication or you have that incentive. It all becomes about incentive for women. When you see women give up, when they have like two or three kids and they say, fuck it, I'm fat. I'm going to stay fat. I don't care. I'm out of the sexual marketplace anyways. And they don't have any respect for their husband's masculinity. They don't care about what his wants are. And those are the same women who are being told every single day by society that it doesn't matter what you look like, and why would you do anything for your husband, because you should never do any, the strong independent woman meme is never do anything for a man. And so you combine that with women who are maybe fat from pregnancy, and they just simply they want to give up. They want to do that because they've got everything they ever wanted. They've already reproduced. They have the kids, they have the children that they probably love a whole lot more than they love the father of those children, because 9 times out of 10 the kids take priority over the relationship with the man.
Yeah.
So,
and can I cut in here for a second? Because what I've seen with girls that I've wanted to date, all right, so if I have a girl that I've wanted to date for a while, the thing is, like, girls get lazy and sloppy too in a relationship, but guys do the same damn thing. Like, if you have a girl that you have on lock, or you're dating her, then you bring all the excitement out of the relationship. I compare us like lazy lions on the savannah. Right? You hunted for this girl for so long. You showed her like all your prowess, but then you sit back and you get lazy as fuck. And then she gets bored and then kind of wanders off. So in that part of the relationship, when I want to date girls for who knows how long, you always have to keep the relationship exciting. Don't sit back and get lazy. And who said, Ryan, you brought the drama into life?
Yeah.
Exactly. Bring the drama into life. So many guys like sit back like, oh, I'm in a relationship now. I don't have to do anything anymore. I don't have to stimulate her emotions, but that is super important. And I think tons of guys get lazy. Just like women get fat, like guys get like emotionally. Exactly. Women get fat, guys get boring in a relationship.
Guys start gaming their wives is what it ends.
Well,
ends up happening,
and here's the thing. People always say this to me, and I've said this a million times as well, is that people always ask me, gosh, that seems like so much work. I don't want to have to game my wife all the time. Can't I just let my hair down? Can't I just be comfortable with who she is? And the answer is no, you can't do that. And then second of all the good news is that once you internalize red pill awareness and you understand your wife's nature as a woman, and once you understand, where she is in her progression of stages of maturity, like I said, in preventive medicine. Once you have figured that kind of stuff out and it becomes part of who you are, it's easy to do that. People think it's such a big deal and so hard to keep things fresh and keep things going. It's like that's only hard if it's an act that you have to keep doing all the time. If it's not an act and it's who you are, it's easy. People always tell me, they always say that a good relationship is hard work. No, it's not. It's effortless. It is absolutely effortless if you know what to expect and if you have red pill awareness. And I mean, I've been married for 21 and a half years. I have a great wife who's still fun, still hot. It's great, but I am red pill aware, and I don't. It's no longer an act. I don't have to think. I don't have to go through some thought process when my wife gives me a shit test or something like that.
All right, so I just want to throw it back over
for broader shoulders.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt. I want to throw it back over to Carl because he wanted to add something to what Kyle was going on about.
Well, I was just wanted to add to it that a lot of guys will go out, they'll get a girl's number, and then she'll flake on them, or they'll or something like that. And what happens with them, they'll spend the next 4 days obsessing, what did I do wrong? When did I lose frame? When wasn't I entertaining enough? Could I have used a different line? And if you force the hard no, then you take that obsessive rumination away. And I made a joke the other day about guys who want to lift weights. So instead of just going into the gym and lifting something, they'll spend 7 months not touching a weight and designing the perfect program of 343 reps of this exercise with 14 different superset variations doing pyramids, instead of just going in and doing the easy thing. And I think that's kind of a male way of thinking. We tend to break everything down and obsess over it to make it better. But at the same time, you can get lost in nuance very easily. And a lot of guys never improve because they never push themselves to get that hard no or the enthusiastic yes. And the same thing in a relationship. The guy will get into the relationship and both people will start slipping. Like Goldman said, she gets fat, he gets boring. As he gets more boring, she gets fatter. And in the end, it's an arms race between the two about who can add the least into the relationship.